Let's go back for another episode.
That's my baby.
I'm dying.
That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored. They did it.
Left.
What the hell was that?
Oh yeah. What the fuck are you talking about?
What is up, fam? We are back for another episode of the Weekly Roundup. I'm your host, as always, Steve. Zach will be here momentarily. Had multiple games to umpire tonight, so I'll be riding solo here for at least 15, 30 minutes or so. Gonna have a fun one lined up for you tonight. Gonna be talking some baseball. We got former Phillies catcher Cameron Roop's gonna be joining us this evening, tonight, this afternoon, wherever you happen to be watching from. Going to be talking some NFL. You know, the NFL memo on the vaccine that they are requiring, but both personnel and players to have. In the second hour, we're going to be joined by Scott Kent. We're going to be also doing some live reaction on the UFC fight night tonight. Going to talk some NFL and. Olympics. The Olympics are going on, so we got some fun stuff. Obviously, tonight's episode is brought to you by Expo Realty. Now, if you're looking to buy or sell a home, you're looking for a changing career or brokerage, contact our guy Alan Foy of Expo Realty LLC. That is 302-682-8820, or visit him at Alan Foy at Expo Realty.com, and he'll get you all hooked up. Obviously, like we're gonna have some fun here tonight, and I want to get everyone's thoughts on the name change first and foremost for our poll question tonight is the for Major League Baseball. Obviously, we had a new team kind of reform during the middle of the season, kind of an odd one there, but the Cleveland Indians are no more, and they are now the Cleveland Guardians. Let me get everyone's thoughts and opinions. Was the name change the correct move for the organization and MLB baseball? Agree, disagree? Want to hear everyone's thoughts on this one. Obviously, kind of a unique one right there for everyone when you kind of, you're mid-season and you you hear all this unreal, Zach. I tried to get someone to come in here, Tom, dude. It just didn't happen. Didn't work out. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how that one is. And, I agree, David, man. It's always going to be the Cleveland Indians. Obviously, we're going to get people, in the society who aren't happy with it, feel it has a racial overtone, whatever. We obviously already seen parts of that happen during this, this last year with, the Redskins no longer being the Redskins and now being the Washington football team. And we're going to get a new team announcement there with them on this next following season in 2022. So we'll see how that goes, what they eventually come up with. I want to see everyone's thoughts. I mean, I'm not per se against it. I get why they're doing it. We live in, I guess, this cancer culture, the society that we live in right now. So I guess that's kind of why we're dealing with this in the manner that we are. But I think the more thing I'm probably upset if I was a Cleveland fan right now, it's just, it looks thrown together. The logo looks terrible. It looks rushed. What is up, Big Daily? How you doing, feeling, brother? How you feeling? So you killing it right now? 54 in 42 on yours, Roka. Doing better than this team is. He's on his way back from umpiring. I don't know what to tell you guys. He wasn't happy. He let me know Wednesday. It just try to see if it was going to work. He said he will be here no later than 8:30. But you know how it goes, guys. You know how life is. It kind of runs with you from time to time. You run late, you run behind. Life makes it rough sometimes. It's the Cleveland Indians. I mean, I still catch myself calling the Redskins instead of Washington football team. It'll take me a while before I catch up with that aspect of it. That's for sure. But yeah, I guess in that sense, I guess I feel you on that one, David. That it will be the Cleveland Indians. So that's your opinion on it. Yeah, the I guess the organization, Major League Baseball, felt like that was one of the ones they should have gotten rid of. That's what I was sitting there saying. I kind of feel like it's being rushed, like especially being thrown together in the middle of the season. The logo looks rushed. Like even if you were going with the Guardians, like you couldn't come up with something better than that. Like did someone like Photoshop that all together? I mean, I could get behind Guardians, I guess, because nobody has the name. It's kind of unique, and no one, I guess it's prevalent today with what we have with the Marvel universe and everything like that, and it's a popular name. I guess that's where they're going with it, trying to bank on popularity on that end of it. But we'll see how that one is. What's up, Bryce? How you feeling, brother? You need to get back to me on that stuff, man. Let me know what's going on. Man, you better do something with that. That's rough. That's rough. That's rough, man. You better get them runs. New listener, what is up? Warrior Rumber, what is that? Elizabeth Bracken. Appreciate the love. Appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you keep listening in. We got some fun stuff going for you over here on the channel. So definitely don't want to miss that. And without any further ado, looks like our first guest is in the back. And he's gonna be kicking it with me until I guess Zach gets here. You know how umpiring goes in them things. But former professional baseball player, former Philadelphia Phillies catcher, Mr. Cameron Roop. How we doing this afternoon, my friend?
What's going on, man? How are you?
I'm good. Zach's being held up right now. He had a couple extra games thrown on his umpiring play, so he should actually be here in about like 15 minutes. He's not happy at all. He wasn't happy at all. He's like, why is it every time like you get something I want, you line something up that I want to do, I want to engage with, and something comes up.
Oh, that's the shit. It happens, man. That sucks.
That's life, man. You just got to roll with it. Ain't nothing you can do about that.
Yeah, I feel you on that one.
But and that's kind of like leading into what we were just kind of discussing. Want to get your thoughts on it real quick. But obviously, news came out this week. There's no more Cleveland Indians. We now have the Cleveland Guardians. So I want to ask in this context. Do you think the name change was the correct move for the organization and Major League Baseball? I'm sitting there saying. I think it's half and half. It might have been the right move for Major League Baseball, but I don't think it might have been the right move for the organization or the fan base to do something like that. I just feel like it was rushed. It was thrown together. We're in the middle of the season. The logo looks like somebody just came up with it. Like their kid came up with a logo. Like, here, Dad, here you go.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I kind of feel about it. I mean, it kind of sucks. I guess that's the world we're living in right now. What's your kind of gut reaction on that one, Cam?
Well, it's better than the baseball team, the Cleveland baseball team.
Yeah. I agree with that one.
It's not like what happened in Washington. To me, I thought it was just kind of it's the world we're living in. Unfortunately, for me, it's not an issue. It was never an issue, I guess. And I think it's just today's world made it an issue, and it is what it is. It is what it is. It's the world we're living in, and it's what we got to deal with. Whether it was an issue or not, for the organization, they felt it was best. So for them, that you got to stand with them. I was a part of that organization last year, and and I thoroughly enjoyed my time with those guys, and you just got to respect the decision they made and move on, whether you like it or not.
I mean, for us, it's easy to say we're outside the Cleveland bubble, so we can we can throw stones, we can agree, we can disagree, but we're not in Cleveland. So, I felt bad for a couple fan bases this week. I felt bad for the Suns fan base waking up after losing the 2-0 series lead to the Bucks, and I feel bad for these Cleveland fans because I think we're kind of kindred spirits in knowing some personal anguish with our teams and being frustrated with some of the decisions, and I think if anything, if I'm a Cleveland fan, I don't know what to think.
Yeah, no, I mean, you can't please everybody, unfortunately, and there's always going to be somebody that disagrees with you, and it doesn't matter what it is. And it's, what, if it's the right decision for you, your family, the organization, whatever it is, that's what you do. That's what you do.
Yeah, you got to do what you feel is best, and regardless, like I said, you have to take decision what it was, move on, and it's a new day. I guess the T-shirt and marketing guys for a lot of companies are probably pretty happy at this point.
No, hell yeah, they're gonna get a whole new brand to show off and a new logo,
and hopefully for the Cleveland fans between now and the start of next season, they get a new logo.
Yeah, and I gotta imagine there's still gonna be a ton of people that wear Indians gear.
Oh, I'm sure. Hey, listen. You look here in Philadelphia, we love the retro gear. I don't see the Cleveland fans being any different. Even like when you have like relocation of teams, like teams are always going to support those teams. Like that's their team. You still see people running around with Seattle Supersonic gear. You still seeing people running around with the Houston Oilers gear. Like you're always going to see that. And I don't think doesn't matter if you relocate, you change the name, like all that stuff. You'll always see that around. Like whether people get upset about it or is one thing. Like I said, that's one thing we could talk about at a later. Like, listen, it's a nostalgic thing. Moving forward, if you're gonna get upset about it, man, it's gonna be in somebody's man cave. I got a signed photo of Otis Nixon on my wall as in a Cleveland Indians card. Dude. Am I gonna take that down and throw it away because it's no
hell no?
It's just like I don't think the fan side of it is. I think more along the lines is you're gonna have to kind of for a diehard baseball fan in Cleveland, you're gonna have to change colors, change your gear up a little bit. But other than that,
you're still cheering for the same team that's on the field.
You bleed the color you bleed for your team. It doesn't matter if, what we're talking about. We're talking about baseball. If we're talking about college sports. You're always that is always going to be your blood. It doesn't matter what the name they put on it. We didn't choose the name. That's not why we chose the name. We chose the name because there's a reason why we're attached to it.
Yeah. Oh, heck yeah, man. Heck yeah.
Now you said what have you been up to, man? I kind of just jumped right into the poll question. I want to kind of get your thoughts on it because that's kind of the heartbeat of what's going on in the sports world. But for people who might not know, you kind of like let people know who you are and kind of what you're getting into right now. I know you also you have the podcasting going on right now too.
Yeah,
I've been seeing that. So like let people know what's going on with Cameron.
So now I have moved on from baseball. 11 years, a lot more years than that. 11 professional years. I was ready to hang it up, and I am now what probably a lot of people do not know up in the Northeast about a cowboy, and not the Dallas Cowboys, but a real life cowboy. Ride a horse, spend hours a day on a horse moving cows. I run a ranch out here. Ran 9,000. Well, at one point it was a 9,000 acre ranch, now down to a 4,500 acre ranch, and I am one of the cowboys and ranch hands there. And they work around town here, and I'm in a town that doesn't even have a red light. It's I got a 4-way stop sign, and so that's I'm pulling horses around, moving cattle.
Well, the other impressive thing I would have to say about that is you're in that place and the connection's great. So thumbs up to you, brother.
Yeah, I got the Wi-Fi from my pickup to help. So There's
Oh,
places
I know how
live.
that is. I was just up like East Stroudsburg, PA, just for my kids to do like a seminar with one of the fighters they were having up there.
Yeah.
And I was just trying to scroll the timeline. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not even gonna bother with this.
Yeah, there's places out here where it doesn't, like where I live. I live on one of the pastures that I look after, and it's 1,100 acres is my backyard, and I venture off into that horseback, and I got nothing. So
Hey, man.
Sometimes it's nice being disconnected from the world these days.
I know, like I said, there's some beautiful parts about it, just because sometimes people are too much. They you know what I mean when I say that people are too much, right?
No, heck yeah, man. Heck yeah,
and it's not saying I'm not a people person. I love people. Don't get me wrong. It's just like sometimes you want your peace, you want your quiet, you want your space.
Exactly.
Yeah, I just seen a friend of mine. He did 4th of July, whatever. Took family on vacation. Comes back, there's a war for his arrest on the door for fireworks. I'm like, this is what I mean. Why I want to get away from people.
Yeah.
And it's like he didn't do anything crazy or extravagant, or like he didn't have like $20,000. Like, just kids lighting up fireworks. Like they're coming home after going on a family vacation to find this is why I want to be where you not necessarily in Texas, because it's freaking hot as freaking piss out there right now. What is it, probably like 105?
Yeah, so actually this week will be the first time that we're getting into triple digits this year. I swear, we've been living in like Seattle or something. It's rained and rained and rained.
I know, dude. Oh my God, it was terrible last week, dude. It knocked me off the show. Like 3 minutes into the show, knocks me off the show. So Zach's sitting there having to do the show. We're sitting there, bad internet. Like the power goes out, dude. I mean, it's just like the rain the last month. I'm just sitting there wondering, like, who pissed off Mother Nature?
Yeah, I mean, it's for me. I love it because it keeps the grass green and the cows have plenty of food to eat, plenty of nutrients. So, rain for me is a good thing to have. And, but it makes it tough driving around. My power went out at my cabin a couple times, and, that part sucks about it. But the heat, it got up to like 102 or 103 today. But for the most part, man, like I grew up in it, so it doesn't bother me. I grew up catching in it, playing in it. So when I got up there and people were complaining about the heat in Philadelphia, I was like, guys, no, this is nice. This is springtime. Now the winter, I hate it. I hate it. Like, we would get up there in April into March, and it'd be like sleeting. I was like, this ain't it. This ain't it, guys. You can find me by the heater.
I mean, it's a double whammy. I like, kind of like the fall weather, where it's not like when it's like, in the 70s.
Oh, you want
60s.
the nice, comfortable weather.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody wants the comfortable weather, brother. We
wanted it nice and fair, but we can't get your cake and eat it too when it comes to that.
Exactly.
But so being out there and being detached from everything, how much have you been paying attention to baseball since at least this last year?
I mean, I don't watch a lot of it, but I check up on my buddies that are still playing. Some of my teammates that I had that are still playing. I check in on the Phils. I don't, like I said, I don't watch it, but I'm always checking scores, because, like you brought up the podcast I'm doing with one of my buddies, it's a lot of baseball talk. So,
got to keep at least moderately up to date, right?
Yeah, I got to know at least. He's more of the guy that runs the deal, and I just kind of put my 2 cents in. But it's so I got to keep up with it. I watched the home run derby. That was awesome.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think of Ohtani? You think he is the next face of baseball? Has he kind of stolen that thunder from his own teammate there and the other guys around the league?
right now, yeah, because Mike's been hurt, and that's just an unfortunate part of the game. But good for Ohtani. Do it. Why not? I mean, do it. Do whatever you can. Do it all like he's doing. Heck. I mean, what he's got 34 homers at least. I know he saw hit one after the break. I hadn't paid attention. I've been busy as heck the last
man,
week.
I feel you on that,
so.
dude. I tore my bicep, right before the turn of the year. So I've been trying to take care of things with that, and then I have to take care of my things with my kids. So I'm trying to keep up with sports, doing the family thing. I have, my mom's getting older, so I have to bounce it back and forth between there, make sure.
Right.
So I'm being pulled 2,000 in two directions on a daily basis.
Yeah, I mean that's the truth, man. I've been all over the place moving cattle, and I mean, I go to bed at 9 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock. Sometimes the sun's up still. So
half the time I'm not with you on sometimes I'm still going to sleep a little bit later, but it's 7:30, 8 o'clock. I'm up, dude.
Yeah. Oh, I wish I could sleep until 7:30.
Well, yeah, because you got the farm, man. You can.
Yeah. Hell, I'm feeding horses.
I'm sure as soon as the sun creeps up, man, you up.
Hell, I'm on horseback when the sun's up. As soon as you can see, you go, because you don't want to do anything in the middle of the day when it's 110 and you can't even bear out there. So you start at 6, and you start going whatever, checking cows, moving cows, branding, all that mess. So it starts as soon as the freaking sun, as soon as you can see.
I bet. And I got to ask you about the Phils, man. This team has been so crazy. This town is always, people underestimate the baseball love in this town. And, I mean, we're always an Eagles town, but Phillies and Sixers and Flyers fight for the affection of the remaining spots. But I always think that there's a little bit more love in Phillies baseball than people hold to. Lot of money on this team. A lot of things been said about this team over the last few years. They're in a position where the guys in front of them are either getting hurt or finding themselves in the position where they know they're kind of falling off. And I know this team's been really inconsistent. You think they're going to be buyers at this trade deadline that's fastly approaching, or do you think that they're just finding a couple minimal pieces?
I think. I mean. They're in a chance to win. They have a chance to win their division. They're 2 games out, a game or two. They're not far out of first place, and I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer. I don't know why they wouldn't be buyers and go after. I mean, you've got the players. Yeah, I mean,
I just think if in reality, if I could just go one way, just give me a back end arm to kind of get Neris out of that situation or something to that effect. Maybe maybe see what you can find out else out there with what you're willing to part with to what you can add. Yeah. But other than that, I really wouldn't mess with the chemistry. I like with what they have for the most part. Reese kind of really I think is going to be the guy that says if this team makes it or breaks it. Because if he doesn't kind of step up against good pitching, good teams, this team probably won't go and make a playoff run. Well, I kind of think everyone else is kind of what you're going to get of, and he's kind of been the guy that's been so all over the place when you're looking at their production offensively, at least.
Yeah, no, I agree. And you got JT and you got Harp right there hitting in front of Reese, I believe. And if they're taking picks, they're going straight after Reese. They're not going to pitch to JT. They're not going to pitch to Harp. Reese is the one that, he's done it. He's done it. He's been that guy.
He has done it. We're not, and when I say that, I'm not trying to take anything away from him. Just he kind of beats up on. He
beats up on the guys he's supposed to beat up on.
Yeah, but he disappears a lot of times and against the better teams, against the better arms around the league, and it's one of the things that he's been really. It's not to sit there and say he can't hit against them. It's just he's been so inconsistent. It's kind of his common thread there.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the name of the game, is being consistent, being able to do it over and over and over again, and not doing it just against the guys that you're supposed to do it against. And Reese can do it. He can do it. Now, when a pitcher can execute a scouting report, like, it makes it very, I don't care who's hitting, it makes it very difficult.
Especially when you get in crunch time.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have guys that can execute it. And if he's got a hole or two that pitches that plays into a pitcher's strengths, then it's really, you're up shit creek and you're in a tough spot. Right. So, he'll get to the point where he can't miss. He'll get a mistake and he can't miss it because that's the only chance you're going to get. And that goes for any hitter too. They've got guys in that ball club that can take them into the playoffs and win. They have them. They have the players. It's like you said, they got to get their bullpen. Neris has been very inconsistent the last few years. He's been around a while. And
everyone's been saying it. Like Krimble's kind of the guy that's rumored that's going to be out there for a few years.
Yeah,
he's been rumored here in Philadelphia for a few years. I think it's finally time to kind of pull the trigger. Whatever. Yeah. Like, I'm not sitting there saying throw the farm at. I'm just sitting there saying make it happen.
You got to get somebody. Whoever it is. You got to get somebody that's going to help Neris, because Neris can be very, 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 very effective. He can be very good. He's been good. He's in a rough patch right now. I've seen he's blown a few saves lately. Too many, probably.
Well, I mean, even to the point, I think last week, I seen him in like the sixth or seventh inning. Like, he was one of the first release. I'm like, when you start seeing that, I think that's when you start to kind of see the writing on the wall and see what's about to happen.
Well, I mean, but sometimes a guy just needs that to go in and just pitch. Just go pitch. Don't worry about it's a non-pressure situation. He's got to feel the weight of the world on his back. You got to think, man, like, that's his job. When you're not doing your job and you're not doing well, you're playing with fire. You're putting yourself in a situation not to be able to do your job anymore. So you got to think, there ain't nobody on that field that wants to have success more than he does. And so putting him in a situation where it's a non-pressure situation, he can go out and he can just pitch and find whatever it is he needs to find. He can find what he used to have and get back to that split that was very, very good, and his fastball that plays off of it. And you get him back to his old self, and then you go add a bullpen arm. You got Archie Bradley in there that's had a lot of success in the big leagues, and now this team's playing good baseball down the stretch. There's no telling what could happen.
And it really not. And like, one thing, like you said, you got guys on here, you got Kutch, Didi, Sakura's amazing on this team. And, being a catcher, so growing up, Dutch was always one of my favorites. I was always enamored with the catcher position. Yeah. So, obviously, being one of the trade, like, I got to get your thoughts on the current one. JT Ramuto, how do you think he fares up around the best in the league? And give me your top three catchers of all time.
JT's a stud. We used to work out together in the off season. We'd hit together. So I know him, I played against him when he was in Miami, and kid's a stud. I mean, he's without a doubt ranks up there in the top 2-3 in the league, if not the best. But that kid's a stud. He knows he's good. He's not just a good player. He's a good person. And that's
probably the most important thing. I think people kind of tend to forget. Like, we get stuck in this so total change in the world, like over the last 20 years with like the social status of everything, and people they just worry about the field so much, and they kind of try to forget about it. Like, the good people in this world kind of also need to kind of get breaks and make it like guys like the JTs and even Bryce, like stuff you've seen after the shooting. In Washington, and he obviously didn't have he wanted out of there, and they weren't happy when he left and stuff like that. To still sit there and see him reach out and to the people that at the stadium, the fans, etc. You want to see good dudes succeed, and that's why I love them too here.
Absolutely. I mean, you cheer for those guys, and you cheer for those guys in the game when you're in the game. It's definitely a brotherhood around the league, in it or out of it. You're always going to be close to those guys, playing against them or with them, and those are the guys I cheer for. They're the guys I cheer for, and when they're good people and they're superstars, it makes it even better. It makes you want to cheer for those guys, and you want to make sure that people know that they're good people. And I love JT. I think he's a hell of a guy to have behind the dish up there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that anyone. I think his thing was what it's not even his bad, is his how he handles the staff sometimes that people don't really realize some of the things he does, and he gets mad at more of the stuff like that on the mound type of stuff than you see him getting mad about like stuff that he does at bat. And I kind of think that's that's another special quality that he has, dude. He's just so in tune to every part of his game, and he just wants to make every part of his game better. Day in, weekend, every off season is like one of the things. He's a beast on every level. Is one of the things. Like I said, it's great to see him being successful. Gets the contract, he gets to stay here. A lot of us were so unsure what was going to happen. Since we brought him in here, and you didn't necessarily get him re-signed immediately, so there was that worry you're gonna have another situation. You lose out on a guy, you lock him down, you get him here, and I don't care what anyone says. He may not be the best right now, but I think that other things make him one of the best.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And people will say, "Oh, I only care about what he does on the field." Yes, I get that. And because that's his job.
But yeah, obviously, we're tough in Philadelphia. We, great.
Aware.
You built these houses for these people. Great. You fed these people. But what have you done for me lately? That's Philadelphia in a nutshell.
Yes. I am very aware of that.
And what do you? I gotta get your thoughts on this. What do you think is worse, the sports media or the fans? I still think it's kind of a toss up between the two. I really think kind of the sports media finds a way to kind of put things out there to kind of get their spin on things, and the fans kind of play into it at some point in times. But I think we've seen a lot over the last 10, 15 years. Philadelphia sports media isn't really loved.
I think both. I still have relationships with some of the guys up there.
Oh yeah, for the most part. I'm just sitting there saying, you always have the guys that stand out that you can see are true professionals or true guys that. But then there's just too much sludge.
There's guys that want nothing but the attention. It's the same thing with fans. They want the attention. They want to say something just for you to reply and say, "Oh, look what I said to Cameron Rupp," and he replied, or to Bryce Harper, or to JT Ramuto, or whoever it is. They just, "Oh, look what I did," and then you see
the Mike Tyson comment comes out so much, man. Where social media just made you so comfortable saying disrespectful things, you don't get punched in the face for saying nonsense,
right?
And then people were mad at Vinny V for calling that Boston fan out. I'm like, listen, I'm not Vinny V's fan by any stretch of the imagination, but you can only take so much freaking nonsense.
Well, no, and it's like, hey, man, like, there's no reason for the comment. It did nobody any good. It put him in a situation to say what he did, to do what he did. And it just was uncalled for. And now, it gets put on video. And now people come after Vinny. Oh, well, it's true. He needs to pitch better. He needs to learn how to pitch. No, man, no, that's not your place. That's not your place. And to me, it's like, I don't fault Vinny for it. I don't fault him for it.
And speaking of which, me and Zach's here. Umpire's here.
No, he made it.
Yes, sir. What's going on, boys?
How are we doing?
Well, I umpired 6 13U baseball games today.
Did you throw anybody out?
No, but 2 coaches challenged each other to a fight in a Culver's parking lot, and a coach punched his own son in the face. So, yeah.
Should have played better.
Oh man,
That's tough.
you gotta love life.
Hey.
All right, Zach. I'm gonna throw it right to you. Obviously, you're right in here. We've already had Cam on for about 30 minutes or so. I want to make sure you got a few questions in before we get ready to let him enjoy his afternoon.
Afternoon. It's about my bedtime.
I keep forgetting, man. Yeah, man. The farm life's rough, man.
Yeah.
He's owning the ranch. You missed the whole first half of the interview, so you don't know that.
I think he was playing the outfield, Greg. But it was a former a guy. He was talking about how he played like 7 years in the minor league, spent a couple years in the Venezuelan league. Played all over in professional baseball. So I mean, this guy's he's a really good coach. His kid pissed him off. I probably would have punched my kid in the face too if I was in that situation. To be honest, he kind of was asking for it, but. Where are you at, my man? That background you've got going on up there.
That's his farm, man.
Gotta be gorgeous.
I am in Archer City, Texas. They don't even have a stoplight in here. It's a town of about 1,200. I live on a 4,500 acre ranch. I run a cattle company, and I cowboy. I spend probably 8 hours a day horseback almost every day. So
wow.
I was talking earlier, I said, I do the cowboy life that most people don't know about. They see their cow in the pasture when they drive by and then it's on their plate. Well, I help that cow get to your plate in a way by keeping him fed and taking care of them, make sure they don't get sick. They don't. So I do all that. I do all the hard work.
Okay, I'm with you. That's.
You ever seen the show Yellowstone?
I have, yeah.
So I basically, I'm not Rip, but I'm that guy on this ranch.
Okay.
And without the train station and killing people. I don't do any of that mess.
Oh, so you're not repped anymore? You're just letting it go now? You're letting the dad bod take over?
Me? Oh, no. I
was just making fun of the fact you're not ripped. I'm like, you're a professional athlete, man, working on a ranch.
Man, I'm messing around with 2,000-pound bulls. I'm messing around with 500-pound calves. I got thrown over the fence by a bull. I guess it wasn't about 2 months ago. The bull got up underneath me when I was climbing, and he threw his head up underneath my boot, and there I went flying over. I got thrown off a horse a couple days ago, thrown into a fence. It's
a real life, man. I keep that dangerous out there.
I got some wounds.
So do we. Now you're out there. I know your football team is them boys, ain't they?
Oh, hell yeah.
Right. So obviously we obviously we got to ask you, man, what are your thoughts on this upcoming season? A lot of people are, I want to get your thoughts on your boys and get your outwardly take on our Eagles.
Oh, the Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl like I think every year. I don't care.
Come on, Cam.
I don't care.
At least he's a true Cowboys fan.
I don't care. Every year, I get mad at them, and I get mad when they lose. And last year, it's one of those deals where, unfortunately, Dak got hurt. They had a lot of injuries, and that's part of it.
A lot of big names around the league got hurt last year.
No, but I mean, when your guy gets hurt, it puts you in a real big bind, especially your quarterback. And they had, I'll be the first to tell you the most important person on that team is the offensive line. They don't get credit. That's how
I think that's on every team. People talk. We talk about the quarterback. We talk about the stars. We've seen it time and time again. That offensive line isn't healthy. That everything goes to crap.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's what happened. They were missing. They I think they rotated out more offensive linemen last year than anything. Not to mention to go along with their quarterback being hurt. But that's it is what it is. You got to turn the page. You got to get healthy, and you got to start a new season. You got to go pursue a championship. And as far as Eagles go, I give a shit.
You are
Just
a true
about
Cow-
like you
you're,
guys
you
give
know,
a
I'll
shit
give,
about
I'll
the
give you
Cowboys.
no. Listen, I'll give you that much credit. You
All
are
right.
a true Cowboys fan. I'll give you
Here's
that.
a fair
don't,
question.
you know.
Steven, here we go. Steven, here
Let
we
it go.
go.
God, brother.
Vegas has the over/under at 6.5 wins for the Eagles. Over or under that number for you?
For me?
Like if you're just being objective as a sports fan.
Well, hell, I know they got rid of Wentz, and is Jalen Hurts going to
Wentz
be
is gone.
Is Jalen
Jalen Hurts is
quarterback?
apparently at the
Jalen
moment
Hurts
going
is
to be the
our
quarterback.
starting quarterback, but they went and got his buddy Devontae Smith with their number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, but I mean, if you can't throw it to him, then what's the matter?
Well, the offensive line's healthy.
I mean, yeah, but
That's what it's going to come down
I mean,
to.
let's just put it this way: there's a reason that guys would have rather seen Jalen Hurts play than Carson Wentz. And
So you're on you're not a fan of the Wentz. You think he was overrated, and you think the Colts will fail this year?
No, I don't think. I don't think Wentz was the player that everybody thought he was going to be. But I definitely think he's better than Jalen Hurts is. I mean, I think Jalen Hurts is going to be like Cam Newton was, with a little bit less power. You know, Cam's a lot bigger than Jalen.
See,
If he's going to be that,
me and Zach have gotten a lot of crap for
Wait
this
a minute,
one.
Hold on.
Me and
Cam
Zach
Newton won an
have
MVP
gotten a lot of
award.
crap for this. We've sitting there. We look at him as like a bigger version of Tyrod Taylor, who could probably
I think
be
he's
better
maybe a
if he
slightly
stays
better
healthy.
Tyrod
He
Taylor.
could be good. He could be.
That's
good.
what I'm sitting there saying. But like when you sit there and say these things, everyone's like, "Oh, how dare you!"
You should hear. I mean, Eagles fans rip me and Steven because they, or at least the people that listen to our podcast, seem to rip us because they think that I guess that we're hating on Jalen Hurts by saying he reminds us of Tyrod Taylor.
David, stop
Meanwhile,
it. Stop
Tyrod
it.
Taylor's played in the league
Everyone
for like a decade.
has figured out Sean McVay, and you really think Matthew Stafford's going to win you guys the Super Bowl? David, I love the Rams, but you're out of your mind, brother.
I don't know. That's going to be a very, very interesting. That's going to be.
I still think over the last few years, they've caught up to what his scheme was. It wasn't just necessarily Jared Goff being a bad quarterback.
Who was protecting him in Detroit?
But it goes back to the whole Matthew Stafford's a stud. I'm not taking that away from him, but
the Rams are better now with Stafford than they were.
Oh, without a doubt.
And to bring it back to the NFC East, me and Steven have talked about this in the past, and you talk about the Cowboys, and you think them winning the division or whatever. Let's we understand the Super Bowl thing. That's your team, but if we're saying they're going to win the division, right, or something like that. Me and Steven are on the record saying that we think all three teams in the division got better, and the Eagles, if they got better, they didn't get, as better as the other three teams. So how did the Cowboys get better than the Washington football team?
Well, the Washington football team don't have a quarterback.
You don't like Fitzpatrick? You're not a fan of Fitzmagic?
Nah, I'm with Cam here. I think people are so oversold on Fitzmagic.
The reason the Washington football team is so good is because their defensive line is 4 first top 5 picks, and he ain't got no time. I mean, defense wins you a championship. It does. I full-heartedly believe that. And those guys, they're scary on that defensive line. And I think they drafted another one this year. I don't know.
Washington is scary up front, but I'm with you. You have to have more than a guy who's been probably just about on most of the NFL teams that have been created in the NFL. But I don't think I'm going to rely on that guy to win me a division.
I don't know if Fitzpatrick could be worse than like anything they had at quarterback last year. I mean, they were not very good offensively last year.
And you know what? I think what Fitzpatrick does is really good. He's good with a lot of luck.
It's good game management.
You got to have that. You got to have that in this game. You got to have luck some places. And to me, like, that's just who he is. That's just who he is. That's why he has the name Fitzmagic. Like, it just happens.
Right, it just seems to be that it follows him. Yeah,
but even though he has Fitzmagic, it's never enough.
I don't think they got better. I mean, Alex Smith was a great story and a great. Yeah, I mean, when it wasn't the Cowboys, I was fired up that it was the football team that won. And I still hate their freaking name, but it is what it is.
What's your guess on their name change next season? I'm going with the name we've already seen on the screen. I think they should be the Washington Sentinels.
Yeah, from the replacements, and Keanu Reeves should be like part owner or something.
I'm down with that.
I think it's something different, something no one has, and I think it actually works because it's something you could, with that name in that place, you can also change the whole color scheme and everything like that. And
the other one I like is
kind of go American, go red, white, and blue.
That's fine.
Well, you could do that. You could do that, but the Patriots might have like a little bit of an issue with that. They might feel like they're ripping off their scheme or something here. Like,
you're the Patriots. They're the Sentinels.
Yeah.
The other one I like
because the colors are the color. Just if they ever play each other, they have to wear an off scheme thing. Who cares?
We talked about the Washington Senators, right? Like the old baseball team.
No,
that might be cool.
I think that's copyrighted. You're not going to be able to do that.
I don't know if it's still copyrighted or not. It might be with the Twins, but we'd have to see. But the one
he's getting the mosquitoes or flies. Which ones are they?
Mosquitoes are coming out.
All right, man. I don't want to keep you too much longer, Zach. A question or two more before we throw it back over to him and let him go.
How quickly? Okay, what's your official time for hog tying a calf? What's the record?
Hell, I don't know. We'll say, because I don't do like the rodeo stuff. Like, I get it. And
it's not like he's not doing the.
You just jump off the back of the horse and you don't wrestle a steer to the ground or something like that.
He just told you the bull freaking just kicked his ass and threw him over the fence.
Well, no, the steers are a little bit smaller.
I don't do any of that.
No? Okay.
No, I do. I'm usually somebody else will catch him, and I'm going to be the one that gets off my horse and throws him down.
Cameron just be like, good job, brother.
Yeah, exactly. You got to tackle him. So,
I still didn't get your top three catchers before I let you go,
top
man.
Three catchers. Ever?
Yeah, you're just your favorites. Don't have to be, all time. Your three favorites that just inspired you. You love to watch, etc.
Pudge Rodriguez was mine. I grew up, in Dallas. That was a thing for me. Big Rangers fan. That was Hall of Famer to watch as a kid. Who else? I loved Johnny Bench. I didn't get to watch him. I was too young, or I wasn't around, but videos of him and then being able, just like hearing him talk, and he's one of those guys you cheer for. That is a good all-around guy that came out. And then actually, as I spent a lot of time in Philadelphia being around Dutch, that was cool. I got to know him, spent a lot of time with him. And to me, like, that was the guy that he was beauty and miss him. I miss him.
Yeah, man. Cam, dude, that was my guy that made me a Phillies fan, like before Crocker, before Nails, before Mitch, like Darren Dalton is my dude. I was lucky to meet him a few times. My daughter was lucky enough to got to meet her, before he passed and stuff like that. My son, unfortunately, didn't. But it's one of those things, man. Like he was something special, not just to the guys. The guys that he played with, but he just stayed around this organization to a point to guy like where like you're sitting there having conversations like he was just one of those guys, and like he was special to everyone, not just to the fans, to the players on his team, but just to that organization in general. If you were around them, he was around you, he made an impact on you in some way, shape, or form. So yeah, he's always going to be one for me. Pudge is definitely a guy you can't take him out of that list. And I guess when you go into your oldies, like kind of like I like kind of what you do. You pick one of your faves. You pick one that is the best, and then you go back to one of the old ones. You said bench. I'll say Cap. We're Campanella's like somebody
there you go.
from that time who's a great that doesn't get enough love because a lot of us weren't around for his time.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that's the history of the game. You go back and you learn. You learn about it, and the guys.
That was one of the things I loved doing as a kid, just kind of like watching old stuff, getting a hold of like, I think that's the thing that I think the fans of nowadays have so much more advantage over stuff that kind of me and you grew up with. We had to go like libraries and find books and like look things up, man. Like, VHS is out. What is this? Is this one I've watched already? No, I haven't. Okay, let's watch this one. See this is about.
Did you have a complete set of encyclopedias growing up, Steven?
Oh, dude, I still have the booklets of all the Hall of Famers upstairs in my room. I promise you. It's got like Lou Gehrig, Grover Cleveland. I got all the books from them. I promise you.
That's awesome.
That's good.
Man, dude, baseball was like my first like real love as a sports fan. It'll always hold a special place in my heart. You guys are true Ironmen. You guys play so much time in the heat. Guys only do training camps. They get to stop. You guys are at to putting it all out of the line on the worst time of year, in my opinion. This is the worst time of year to be out playing a sport.
Oh, I love it. I'd rather be hot than cold. I tell you that, right?
Yeah, he was telling us earlier. Being up here in April sucks.
That's why I moved to Florida. I used to be a Philly kid, and then I moved down here once I became a grown man, and I'm never coming back. I don't like the cold.
That's awesome.
All right, Cam, before we let you go, what we do is throw the proverbial microphone over you. Anyone would like to thank, shoot out your social media sites, any charities you working with, shoot out the podcast, let everyone know where to keep up the comings goings for you, and anything else that you're working on to let the people know, man. The time is over.
Man. Thanks for having me out. I appreciate you guys reaching out and wanting to connect, and I'm out here in Texas just cowboying. I'm going back to school in the fall to finish my degree and go be a coach some point down the line. And in Texas, unfortunately, you got to have a degree. So I'm going to finish it. And in the meantime, I'll be cowboying. I do a podcast with my buddy Ryan Spader. Usually Tuesdays and Thursdays, we've been slacking a little bit. It's kind of a similar stream to what we do here, where you guys can come join us, chat, and it's over on No Filter Network, which is Eric Burns, former Major League Baseball player, created. And so we hang out, have fun, we talk, shoot the breeze, all things baseball. My buddy Spader is a big time gambler. He bets on every baseball game. So we talk about that, and I tell him he needs to go to rehab for it, but he continues to do it. So y'all come hang out, and like I said, again, thanks for having me out.
Cam, it's an absolute pleasure, man. Definitely want to keep in touch. Definitely have you back on here again in the future. We like to do all kinds of crazy stuff here. We do round tables and everything like that. So we'll come up with some topics that to pique your little interest a little bit more. Maybe get you talking a little bit more outside of baseball and everything else, brother.
That sounds good, guys.
All right, Cam. Thanks again for your time. Enjoy the rest of your night. Obviously, you're getting to sleep sometime soon, and have a good one, and we'll be in touch, my friend.
Sounds good, guys.
All right, you have a good
More
one.
question. What do you got?
Is Spader good at betting on baseball?
Yes.
Oh, good at. See, now I got to listen because I'm not good at betting on baseball, but I need to
No,
become
see,
good
we
at
got
it,
him
so.
started recently with all the betting and
That's
everything.
right.
I'm surprised I didn't get a call from Zach this week for some MMA stuff since the UFC's on tonight.
That's on every baseball game. Go find him on Twitter.
There you go.
And
Perfect.
he's won. I'll tell you this. He's won guys on parlays 6 digits. So. Yes.
Watch out now. There you go.
He does it every
The
day.
insider betting on some baseball, fam. Make sure you stay
There we
tuned. All right, Cam. Appreciate the time. We'll catch up with you.
All right. Sounds good, guys. Y'all have a good one.
All right, you too.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, everyone. That was former Philadelphia Phillies catcher, former Major League Baseball player Cameron Root, but definitely a fun one. Cowboying it out there, doing this thing, post MLB life. Definitely going to check out that podcast now for sure. I know Zach is now.
I definitely am now. Yeah.
He's like, hey
How
man, I
can
need to get caught up on some bets.
Wow.
All right,
Yeah,
but obviously
that,
before Scott hops on here, I want to give you a chance to kind of get caught up. We were talking some baseball. Obviously, Cam, for the most part, you said, I kind of get it. I kind of agree with what Cleveland did. The fam had already kind of tuned in for most of them. Didn't like it. Most of them, it was kind of split. It was kind of split. And then even a couple Cleveland fans chimed in and said, "Guess what? I'm a lifelong fan. But more than happy with the Cleveland Guardians. So we got a little bit of everyone's thoughts. Let's see what Mr. Burr has to say about the name change. Was it a good move for both the organization and MLB?
Well, I think the better debate is whether or not we like the name Guardians. Like, should they have gone Spiders, Guardians? Could they have done something else? Whatever. But this idea, I don't understand all the people that literally this has no effect on their life, at all. Yet they get so up in arms. I can't believe they did this, and I'm never watching baseball again. I guarantee you're watching baseball again. I don't even these people that lose their mind over shit that how does this affect your life in any way? And the idea of how this all came about, obviously, you'll know, Stephen, that Native American groups around the country have been asking for this since, the 80s, I guess, maybe even before that, decades and decades. But apparently the current Indians, Cleveland Indians or Cleveland Guardians, whatever we're calling them now, ownership group, had a meeting, in the off season.
Like I said, probably the one thing I said outside looking in, I would be upset with it if fan was just. It looks like everything was thrown together. That logo looks like somebody's 6-year-old came up with it on the computer and they just kind of slapped it together.
Doesn't the Rock and Wings have something to do with the Isn't that supposed to kind of be like a paying tribute to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or something that's there in Cleveland? Isn't that what that was supposed to be about?
But it's I don't know, man.
See, I'm with you there. See, now this is a fun debate. Could they have come up with a better name, a better logo?
See, I don't have a problem with Guardians.
Maybe.
I don't really think it's something new. It's something no one really has. I guess it's even to the point of you have the connection with Marvel and things like that. If Cleveland's smart, they would start it. I would invite I'd call Marvel immediately and be like, "Can we get the Guardians of the Galaxy down here for the next baseball game?"
Yeah, there's a lot of
I'm just serious. It's just there's just things that I don't have a problem with that name. I just think and we were even asking I don't think anyone should really have a problem with people wearing the gear either. It is what it is. It's part of who those teams are.
Yeah, I think the one logo that used to be really, really popular that even now people have kind of been is the Chief Wahoo logo or whatever that they stopped using. A few years back, I think 2018, they stopped using it. And that was the logo that really Native American groups were very, always upset about. But from what I read yesterday and, I read a lot into it just to try to figure, knowing we were going to talk about it on the show, this decision by them, this was all made with, it was a whole group effort between the Cleveland Indians ownership group and Native American groups. And there's still a lot of Native American groups that live in the, that region of the country. The Ohio region out there, Cleveland and all that. you know, in all those different cities out there. So I guess they had a big input put on it, and you know, they had been in contact and had met with Cleveland ownership, and it was all talked about and discussed. And so it seems like, you know, at least on that part, it was well put together. It wasn't like it was just something they half-assed. You know, whether or not the logo and all that is maybe a work in progress, and we could see something a couple years down the road, a new and improved, brand new Cleveland Guardians logo. Sure, you know, whatever.
No, and I think it's something they can still do during the
right?
off season too. Like they can just do a testing and see what's what. So
I did wonder, like, Guardians, like, is it like, was that really like you can't tell me it's a coincidence that Indians, Guardians, it both ends with the same ending. Like, I don't like, you know, did they feel like it was a branding that like made sense because only like half the name is still the same or something like that? That part of it to me is really weird. Like, I really would have just went back and changed it and made them the Cleveland Spiders and been like, hey, this is what we were in 18 whatever when we first were, you know, a Major League Baseball team before we ever became the Cleveland Indians. And now you're talking about, you know, not just nostalgia purposes, but also the history of the club, right? And like how far back it goes. But there's no way you can convince me the Guardian thing isn't something, you know, it had to have come up in the main idea behind it was Indians, Guardians. It ends very similarly. You know, it's not that hard of a brand change, you know, from what we were to what this is. That's the only thing I can think of, because I do think there were a lot better options. Like but I mean, you know, I'm not going to complain about the name. I think, you know, one of my friends made a great point on Facebook the other day, trying to be funny, where he's like, Major League Baseball is a league where, like, it says it's the White Sox and the Red Sox. You know, you got two teams named after the color of stocks, right? Like, we're really going to be upset over a team called the Guardians. Like, how many, like, when you look around baseball, like, how many names are really, like, that creative? Like, we're the Philadelphia Phillies, for God's sakes. Like, we're the
it's not even a thing. It's nothing. Steven? There's not even an actual word or anything like that. It's just, who came up with that?
The New York Metropolitans. Oh, a lot of thought went into that. You know, one of the biggest metropolitan areas in the country. Oh, man. Tell you what, I don't know how much you paid somebody to come up with that name, but get your money back, right? Like,
yeah, and that's why, like I said, like the one thing I don't have a problem with it, but like at the end of the day, like Cam said, it is what it is. You know, the decision's been made. You know, move on, and
we're all going to move on with our lives, and nobody's going to care in a year. People are going to bet on the Cleveland Guardians to win a baseball game next year at this time.
The only thing I seen one comment on Instagram, you know, about one of the posts. Anyone who disagrees with this poll isn't a real fan. What?
People like get laid. Like I don't know what else to tell you. Like, I mean, like, really, like this. I don't have. Like,
I'm gonna
find something legitimate to get fired up about. Like, I don't.
Oh wait.
I'm convinced some of these people that like lose their mind over this shit. Like, what do you do when, like, you know, like what goes on in your personal life? Like, you go home and like beat your wife and stuff like that. Like, you beat your wife and kids at night because you're so angry about everything in your life. Like, I can't understand.
Here's one from the Cleveland fan. Like I was trying to tell you, you know, we got one or Cleveland native. You know, saying being born in Cleveland pains me that the Indians now changed, but their name Guardians, I'm okay with the Cleveland Guardians. And here's another one, right?
Yeah, see, I think that's the part people like, well, Indian isn't offensive. Like, yes, it is. If you put American Indian at the front, like we will always talk like Native American, American Indian, anything like that. Cool. Like, you know, once you're getting into anything outside of that, like, it's, you know, it kind of, you know, it's up to, I guess, who it is, but that can be considered offensive, right?
David,
so, like,
I have to say one thing. F you, buddy. Love you, but F you. I don't ever want to watch that Stanley Cup ever. Because it should be the New Jersey
Flyers,
Devils with their cheap shot.
I remember all of like the older, you know, like all of like the older, my older cousins and stuff like that were Flyers fans and stuff like that. Was that team like Lindros? You know, everybody. I mean, they was like the best team in hockey that year.
But I forgot to ask you. Do you want to even bother with post game for this one for the Phillies?
I mean, I can't. I don't have the Phillies game on. I haven't. I know the Braves were whipping their ass.
12-1 Atlanta. It's 12.
Yeah, and I saw they were up like 6-0 and then 7-0 at one point. Yeah. How about this? My baseball parlay was going to hit. Here's my life, Steven.
Oh boy.
So My baseball parlay was perfectly constructed today. I nailed the underdog, the Tigers, right? I believe they're still winning that game. I don't want to that they were winning 5-0. They better still be winning that game. So I had the Nationals, the Astros, and the Tigers. It's all going splendidly, except for the fact that the Nationals scratched Max Scherzer at the last second, which was the whole point of playing the Nationals, right? Is because Max Scherzer's pitching. If Max Scherzer's not pitching, why play the Nationals? So there went the parlay, and I'm hoping that something happens where it's like because he didn't pitch, they're gonna be like, fuck that game, it doesn't count, it gets scratched. It's weird in the betting world like that. But I don't know. I've got to wait and see here how they're gonna play with my money. But how about that? Like, fuck me, Steven. Like, how about that? Like, is that not
because then it was what was it last week, and it was one fight messed you up for your whole thing.
I actually would have lost like 2 more fights on that card or something too, so it wouldn't have mattered. But I lost the first fight and stopped watching the rest, but it turns out I would have lost a couple more. So I should have listened to Money Moss, man. Money Moss. I mean, he made a lot of our guys some money last weekend. He told people to bet on Billy Quintanilla, as the underdog.
Yeah. Billy was an awesome one, yeah.
And he told people to bet on instead of Mata or Kata or Tata, whoever was fighting, he told him to bet on the opponent who was the underdog, and both underdogs hit. And and then I think he combined it, like the Phillies game and a couple other things. The next thing I should have been following that, Money Moss and all of that, all of the Money Moss podcast and sports picks and all of his knowledge and wisdom that he has, 2 or 3 weeks ago apparently. And I wouldn't, be getting fucked over like this, Steven, but what are you going to do? Who could have known? The baseball gods must hate me. Max Scherzer. They're like, fuck you, Zach.
And obviously that has to mean something, right? Obviously. Him being pulled. A handful of guys were pulled today from
Well, they said he was pulled with triceps, with a triceps thing. Like a legit, triceps tightness or something like that. Like, it seemed like, now they are shopping him. They said they are shopping him, but I think they would just say they're scratching him from the start. And everybody already knows, if you were to just scratch him, everybody already knows what the deal is. He's either got triceps something, or he doesn't. But why would you want people to think he's got a triceps injury if you're trying to shop him? So that makes me think he actually does have a triceps, strain or tightness or whatever he's complaining about, because that's not something you would make up if you were trying to trade him, right? Like, the teams would be like, "Ooh, that's scary. I don't want to trade for a guy with a triceps injury at the moment." So, but yeah, they said that they are shopping him. He's in the final year of his deal. More interesting last night was what was in the Phillies, organization, Bryson Stott getting pulled, right? And you're like, "Hey, what's going on here?"
You have to think that, it's, something I talked to Cam about when we had on. He absolutely thinks they should be frequently shopping right now. If you're the Phillies, you're 2 games out or whatever it is.
Whatever you are. But Craig Kimbrell changes everything with this bullpen. And if they somehow find a way to spin both, what they were talking about, possibly Chris Bryant and Craig Kimbrell, I mean, dude, that's this is the best. How can that not be up there with
Big Pete? What is wrong with Guardians? Stuff, I'm still trying to figure out why people are upset with Guardians.
Yeah, I don't. Guardians is it represents, a guard. It's many it's a role of strength or power, right? In a lot of different ways.
I don't have a problem with the Guardians. I don't why anyone would at this point.
I will bet money. Hold on, because this is crazy. I'm watching the Indians game as we speak, right?
The Guardians.
No, they're not the Guardians till 2022. They just put it on the screen. They're showing their whole history of team names, and they won't be the Guardians till next year. We can still call them the Indians until then, apparently. But they've got the giant Indians sign out in left field up there near the scoreboard. I'm telling you, this is all if we change it to the Spiders or something, then we've got to spend a whole a bunch of money on a whole new thing. If it's just the Guardians, all we got to do is change 3 letters and we'll be okay. That's a lot less money. Think about how much money we're saving, guys. This is the ownership is penny pinching, bro. I'm telling you, this is what's going on here. All of the merchandise and all that, like, yeah, like I'm only changing 3 letters, so it's all good.
So your epiphany about this is that they decided that we can only change these few letters and this will save us the most amount of money. Is that where you're going with this?
Listen,
They're being
go look into the Indians
right now. Is
ownership
that
group.
what you're telling me?
Dude, look into the Dolan family that's owned the Indians for like ever, like for like the past like 40 years or whatever. First of all, they're like hated in Cleveland because of how much of like cheap, like, penny pinching, ownership, they've been for all their time. So, it only kind of got them out of the. They only kind of started like getting a reprieve when they went to the World Series there, but even that was because they had a strong farm system and made the right trades. Like they didn't really go out and spend a ton of money, right? Into left field, over his head. So, I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me, dude. Like based on what we know about the ownership group that has owned the Indians for as long as they have. Yeah, that's their MO. They're all about saving money and penny pinching.
Now, don't want to beat up on baseball too much. I know I was trying to get you caught up. You're a half hour late. We're trying to get you up to speed. So,
you want my three favorite catchers?
Oh, well, go throw your catchers in there since you didn't throw it in there while we were there.
Because I was being a '90s kid, right? Like, so it was perfect. We kind of had it's like you're an '80s kid, right? A '90s kid here.
I was waiting for the Mike Piazza drop.
That's absolutely. I've got Pudge, Mike Piazza, and Yachty. Those are my 3. Like for me, like catching, like of my like lifetime. You know what I mean? Watching catchers, guys that I got to see with my own eyes. Pudge, Mike Piazza, and Yachty are like my 3 favorite.
Red,
I don't know if
are you talking about this Phillies team? Because it's not that bad. It's just pitching, really.
I'll tell you what, Yachty actually has an argument. Yadier Molina has an argument for being the greatest catcher of all time.
He's probably one of the underachieving guys that some of the things I was sitting there talking to Cam about is one of the things that like he was just like he may not have been the greatest bat. I think that no matter what, if you're comparing Yachty to JT's bat, that'll never happen. But I think the other intangibles, his arm, throwing guys out, handling the bullpen, the pitching staff, etc. He's the
greatest receiver of pitchers.
He was over the top above everybody else.
He's
in that era and good portion of a lot of ones around it.
He's pretty much created the art of like what is receiving pitches as a catcher. And, like, obviously I work with catchers constantly umpiring, right? And, like, the good ones, the good ones from the bad ones. And, like, you hear what the good ones, like, what they're being taught now and everything about it as far as how they're taught to start with their hands lower as opposed to, remember when you were young and it was, get the hand out, give them a target, give the pitcher a target. They don't do that no more. No target. You just keep the hand down and then you just move the glove to the ball as it comes in. It's like, it's amazing the way they're teaching them this stuff. This is being taught. And that all became, like Yachty created that whole science about like just this is how great of an art this is of receiving these pitches. I think it's hard like to make, like Pudge, Johnny Bench, right? Like those are the guys, but like Yachty's got to be in that conversation.
Yeah,
I think like he just does.
He's right out there. Yachty and
or,
Piazza were other
like
guys.
we said, like Mike Piazza's the greatest.
I thought those would have been guys that Cam would have mentioned. He threw me off with the bench. He threw me a curveball with bench. I was surprised, but I kind of wasn't surprised. Dutch is one of my guys, so like that definitely love that. Definitely didn't know that kindred connection we came with Darren Dalton, but
you know what I mean.
Like, but Red is absolutely upset with this Phillies team. He says, "Yes, the Phils and the Flyers for that matter. At least they're doing something." And absolutely, the Flyers have done something. They have completely changed this team around and they're not done. Apparently, from what I'm heard, they're not done. There's still more wingers coming.
Yeah,
what?
Why don't they bring in another free agent so people can throw shit at them? And did they throw shit at Wayne Simmons like the one time? Like
what after he left? Because I don't think they were happy. I don't know why. Like it wasn't like his thing, right?
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Flyers fans are going to yell at me here. Watch. No, that's not what happened.
But what do you think so far? Like, or what the Flyers doing? Should like some of these teams take the blueprint on that because
their defense
was probably their biggest thing, and it's probably after this offseason, probably one of the ones they'll be probably better talked about this upcoming season. I'm not going to sit there and say they're better than anyone at this point in time. I'm just going to say that they're going to be more talked about how solid they are.
Yeah, I think it was definitely a good trade from a hockey perspective. I mean, it was making me laugh. Flyers were like, we couldn't give up Nolan Patrick. I was like, see, this is why, like, I just can't do it. Like Nolan Patrick.
Then we just got rid of Haig, and then
Nolan Patrick.
Voracek finally left today.
Nate McKinnon. This is what they do in this city. Like, how many people will go overrate Nolan Patrick all of a sudden? Like, what was he? The next Nate McKinnon? Like, they go be like. I don't know. They gonna like all of us like everybody's gonna be a superstar to Flyers fans. Like, I swear to God, all of them. And then they destroy. They just destroy young players. You think Carter Hart didn't struggle at times this year because Flyers fans don't know how to leave people the fuck alone?
That's one of the questions I was asking Cam. What do you think is worse, the fans or the media?
When you know what, when you're Carter Hart's age, probably the fans. Like, you know what I mean? You're too young and stupid to understand. Like, the media, you're just like, all right, they're just a bunch of idiots asking me questions, and I guess I'll answer them. Like, you know what I mean? Like you don't understand any of that at that age. But like at 20, 21 years old, like when you're Carter Hart's age, like a bunch of rowdy, drunken idiots just like taking their frustrations and their life out on you because you're struggling, going through like a sophomore slump. Yeah, I mean,
what do you think about
somebody.
them getting bringing in what was it, Cam Atkins?
Who'd they bring in?
The guy from the Columbus Blue Jackets came Atkins.
I don't watch enough hockey to know who the hell he is.
No.
I knew Ryan Ellis was.
I thought it was funny because as soon as I seen him, someone was like, "Please don't tell me was this true," because he had this picture. He had all this stuff signed from him over the past week.
I got excited for that. I thought you said Cam Neely.
No, Atkins. Like the Atkins
I don't know who
almost, but Atkins.
I know Ryan Ellis is a really good player. I guess that's how I know who he is, right?
Yo, Don, what's up, brother?
So,
Nate McKinnon.
Yeah.
Flyers trading heavy is an understatement. Now the question is, will the Sixers be trading heavy in about a week or so?
I like what they're doing with Ben Simmons. People are going to disagree and say they don't like it, but I heard that they demanded when the Kings were talking to him, they said, we don't want Buddy Hield. We don't want any of these stupid role players. Oh, we'll give you role players and picks. We don't want role players and picks. You need to have De'Aaron Fox in the deal, and we're not interested. And Sacramento to this point hasn't been interested. I like that. Like, you're not just trading the guy for a new new bag of basketballs. Like, I'm not trading the dude for a new vinyl on the hardwood floor. Like.
Yeah, there's a rumor that Morey is trying to land both Lillard and Beal.
Well, that would be, wow. Like, give him I don't know what to say. Like, just give him the Executive of the Year award right now if he made that happen. But, I like the fact that they're not just going to give Ben Simmons away. Like, and there's a lot of people in this city that are like, I don't care. Trade him for. I'd trade him for Buddy Hield straight up. Like, well, you, sir, are a moron. Like, like that. I don't know what to tell you. Like, that's just not smart. Like, you hold on to the guy, as frustrating as he is, if you can't get the value that, should be there for the guy. And you just hope something finally clicks. And, Steven, this. Grown men mature at different rates. And some grown men,
there. No lateral moves. I'm with exactly what Zach is sitting there saying. You were not trading them for a bag of peanuts and so some used jock straps. That's not happening. But I just want one of the things that just comes across your feed, brother. They're just sitting there saying that he's trying to work on getting and bringing them both on. That I guess from someone must have talked to him and said that's his wish list. You know what I mean? That's what he.
So this is Daryl Morey saying. See, I love that. I love GMs and executives that know how to play the leverage game. Oh, what are the talks about? The possibilities of you acquiring Damian Lillard. Well, if we have our way, we want to acquire both Bradley Beal and Damian Lillard. See, that's genius stuff. Now you take the conversation. All anybody was talking about was the Sixers and Damian Lillard. And now you get people to shut the hell up about that for a minute, and their focus is kind of like, oh, like, damn, could this be a serious thing that could happen? Who the fuck knows? But Daryl Morey knows that the more talk that's surrounding as many different possibilities and not just the idea of the Sixers and Damian Lillard, the more leverage the Sixers have, right? Like, this is all like the politics of professional sports and how that little game works when you're running a front office. It's beautiful. I love it.
And that being said, your thoughts on the NBA Finals since obviously since the last time me and you said the Suns in 5, I said the Suns in 6. It wound up being the Bucks in 6, and Chris Paul has to arguably be the worst playoff basketball performer that we've seen in a long time.
You know what I said last week? I think I said this last week that I felt like his legacy would be defined in this series one way or another. Like, it
was last week or the week before, one or the other. It was said within
they
the
were
last
up
few weeks.
2-0, right? And then Milwaukee comes back to make it 2-2. And it's one of those things where at that point, like, Chris Paul, like we talk about, if he wins the championship, is he a top 5 point guard all time type of thing, right? But here's the thing with that. If he loses in the fashion that he ends up losing, I mean, Devin Booker scores 40 points 2 games in a row.
Another 3-run home run.
Devin Booker drops 40 plus in 2 straight games, and the Suns lose both games because Chris Paul's got his head so far up his ass. He was licking his own taint. I don't even know if that makes sense, but let's roll with it, Steven. I don't
stop, brother.
Whatever. Anyway, Chris Paul stunk. All right, let's just. All right, it's nothing with the analogies, right? He stunk. And Devin Booker scores 40 plus in 2 straight games, and you lose both games because your 36-year-old NBA future Hall of Fame point guard stunk. You go from a guy that could have become like a top 5 point guard ever and one of the all-time GOATs by winning a championship, and now I think you're in one of the all-time loser conversations. Like, and we had this conversation not too long ago. Like, there's certain guys that put up beautiful numbers. They always have great stats. In the regular season, you're always like, wow, what a great player that is. And then they just don't do nothing in the postseason. James Harden, he's either always hurt and banged up or something always happens in the postseason, and he never, ever seems to be as effective in the postseason as he was in the regular season. I'm starting to think it's because he beats up on bad teams in the regular season, and then come playoff time, you've got the other team's best defender on you, and then, good luck. But who knows? The bottom line is there's a difference there, right? And you sit there, and as much as you talk about James Harden and the numbers he puts up, dude's a loser. He hadn't won shit and come close to winning shit. Hell, he's, kind of become like, kind of a problem, at the on the Rockets there towards the end, when, forcing his way out. People talking about how the Rockets were, building their meetings and their practice schedule around him. James doesn't like to practice till 4:00, so practice won't be till 4. Yeah, like, you're a loser. Did you read that one? You didn't hear that one? Russell Westbrook went off apparently on management, and that's what got him traded because he was mad that they were tailoring things and babying James Harden. Like, James doesn't want to wake up early to come to a 7 a.m. meeting, so we're going to have meetings at 1 o'clock. Like, shit like that. Yeah, I tell you, this shit was well documented. That's loser shit. Like, that's loser talk. You're a loser. Carmelo Anthony, fucking loser. Straight up loser.
All right, enough with the spitting venom. Enough of the spitting venom.
Well, that's
what about
Chris Paul is now. He's a loser. He's in that
resume as an under 30-year-old superstar now.
Who?
Giannis.
Oh, well, Giannis is. I mean,
I said stop spitting the venom. Let's talk about something fun, man.
Now and be a Hall of Famer, Steven. That's how good he is. He's got 2 MVP awards and a championship and an NBA Finals MVP. I mean, like, this dude.
Let me get this one for you. Where do you rank that one at? Because he was banged up. He missed some time during his playoffs. That team had some adversity to go through. They didn't have an easy path to the NBA Finals. What are your overall thoughts on it and Giannis's overall playoff performance? Where do you rank it?
How about this? And this can't be any more like upfront than this. His Game 6 performance is the greatest NBA Finals performance in the history of the NBA Finals as far as like clinching games goes, like I've never seen a better performance in an NBA Finals
Michael's
clinching
put
game.
that game when the Jazz wasn't over that.
Did Michael ever? I don't think Michael ever scored 50 in an NBA Finals clinching game. I know he scored 50 in a Finals game, but I don't think he ever scored 50 in a clinching.
40 plus, but it wasn't 50. No.
Right? Yeah. But when you combine not just the 50 points, and then he had the 13 rebounds, and he went like his Achilles heel. He can't make free throws. He goes 15 to 17 from the line or whatever, 17 to 19 from the line, whatever it was. Everything about that performance, that's what big time players do. Whether your knee's hurting you, whether it's not hurting you, nobody gives a fuck. Big time players, right? Santana Moss taught us a long time ago, 20 years ago, right? Big time players make big time plays in big time games. They show up when the lights are bright. Giannis showed up. Chris Paul didn't. Really embarrassing on the part of Chris Paul. Like, as somebody like, dude, like, you're 36, you're like, what? Like, this is gonna be this might be your only chance ever at the Winter Championship. How bad do you want it, Mr. Paul? How bad? Not enough.
Not bad enough, apparently. Not bad enough.
And Devin Booker, as much as he's young and I love the kid. He's already a stud, but like you saw, and obviously he hasn't been there before, right? His first time in the bright lights. Dropped 40 plus in back-to-back games. Maybe he got a little, defeated in the process of all that because he's like, how the hell do I go off and have one of these types of performances in back-to-back games and we still lose? But game 6, I mean, was he not did he not look afraid in the final 15 minutes of that basketball game? I saw him pull a Ben Simmons under the basket, homie, in the final 3 minutes of the game where he had a wide open look and he looked over his right shoulder and threw a pass back. I swear to God, I'll never get the image out of my head. All he had to do was go up for a layup. I don't know if he was afraid he was going to get his shot blocked and it's in his head or what the case was, but that's a shot. Devin Booker takes that shot every time and makes it, most of the time. At the end of game 5, when Phoenix was trying to come back and win, and Booker was very hesitant, he tried to drive to the lane and then got the ball stripped from him. Why not just drive and pull up from the foul line and, somebody gets their hand in your face, so what? You're Devin Booker. You knock down shots with your hand in your face all the time. It just seemed like he shrunk at the brightest, when the lights were the absolute brightest in the series, the end of game 5 there, and then the second half of game 6, which he's 24. I don't want to hold that against him too much as somebody that's never been there before your first playoffs. Chris Paul, no excuses. That I guess that's kind of where I'm at with that. We can, Booker has, he should have plenty of other chances, you would think, right? Played pretty well in the finals, for the most part, start to finish. Can't really knock his performance. Chris Paul, outside of game 1, played like garbage for the most part, right? He had 3 straight games where he played like garbage and maybe a decent one or something. I don't even know I don't even want to give him credit for that. I'll say he played after game 1, every single game he played the final 5 games of the series. He was just bad. He just wasn't good.
And it's one of those rough things, man. Like you said, man, dude, you have your chance to change the narrative on the legacy of your career. And
now watch.
And get the championship, get yourself, in a conversation that would have been nice. But now, I mean, it's got to be rough from them CP3 fans. That's all I got to say.
You want to know what's going to happen next,
and,
Steven?
I said it was rough, Indians fans waking up to that news. It was also rough waking up a Suns fan after swallowing a 4 consecutive losses that, and you have to think Devin Booker had some performances in that. So
sure. You want to know what's going to happen next now, Steven? You want to know what's going to happen? Chris Paul is going to pull the ultimate weasel move. He's going to go for one of the most people love Chris Paul. I love the way he goes about his business, and he's going to become one of the biggest weasels in NBA history. Because I'm telling you, my man's going to go sign with the Lakers and play with his best friend LeBron James. They're going to hook up in LA and try to make a run at a championship.
All right, he's a few minutes late.
Weasel move in the history.
He's a few minutes late here, but we do have our second guest this afternoon. The one and only Mr. Scott Kent, CEO of Line 5 Promotions, is joining us again here on the weekly roundup. How we doing this afternoon, Scott?
Doing great, man. How are you guys? Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's always a pleasure, man. You know, you're always welcome on here. You know, we're having some fun. Zach's had a long day. He's umpired 6 games this afternoon with some 13-year-old U baseball. You know, I've been running around all afternoon. I know you're running around like a crazy person. Everything you got going on. You know, approaching fight week. Wanted to quick get a few minutes in here and sit you down and see how things are going, man. You know, obviously, you know, Italy's the 31st here. You got Glasgow right around the corner from there, and then you know, obviously, Boston. What's up? What did we not give you enough love here in Philly? What happened?
We're still trying to make it. You know, we're still trending upward. So as soon as we get to the top, we're going to be in Philly. Can't wait to do a show there, man. Absolutely.
Oh, that's all. You know, I was just busting your chops, Scott.
I know, buddy.
But Italy, man, obviously, you know, big one there. You know, I already talked to you know a few of the guys and girls on that one. What are some of the ones that you're looking matchups that you're really looking forward to on that you know people may not quite know about yet?
Well, you know, our American World Champion Chip Pollard, you know, being able to defend his title overseas, I think that's going to be. You know, Benko's a tough kid. He's excited about the fight. Enrico Carrera, you know, the guy that we have out of Italy, who's a world champion, going to defending his own home line fight world championship title against a very tough European fighter. And of course, Andy Wynn. You know, everybody loves her, especially after her last performance. She looked amazing. She's excited about it. She always puts on a great show. So I can't wait to get back and see my friends in Sicily, by the way.
So your friends. So what are you checking out around in Sicily? You know, you have some restaurants, some food. You know, you got some friends in there. You're gonna be catching up with besides the fights.
Yeah, you know, I'm really into history. So last time I went there, we ended up in some old ancient Roman ruins, some old cathedrals. It was just amazing. And of course, the food's just off the charts. So my good friend Bruno, he's like the mayor of Rossellini. I'm driving around in this little car with him, and people are hanging out the window yelling, "Ciao, Bruno." So it was about as an Italian experience as you could get.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Now, obviously, you know, Glasgow's coming up. I was fortunate I already was able to get in contact with Jordina Barr. She's obviously really excited to finally get back in there. She's been dying to get back in the ring. How excited are for you to have her back? And you know, what are your plans with her moving forward as well?
You know, big plans with her. She's probably the best female Muay Thai fighter out there. No one wanted to fight her for so many years. Remember, she took the fight with Chris Cyborg, and people thought she was crazy.
Then no one really wanted to fight her.
Yeah, and you know, she beat Chris Cyborg. You know, also on that card, Amy Perney, another one of our world champions who's just been lights out. No one's been able to touch her. So we're going to have probably the 2 best female Muay Thai fighters of this generation on that same card. And everybody loves Jake Peacock. Jake's returning to the UK, being able to fight in Scotland. Real excited about Jake and his trajectory as well.
Oh, dude, he's a story I cannot get enough of. Cannot wait to see him get back in there. He's just doing amazing things. I cannot wait for the next one. And you know, hopefully, Canada doesn't give him so many problems getting back into the country this time.
Boy, that's the real challenge. You know, each country's got their own rules, and you know, there's no.
And that's one of the things I want to ask you, man. Like how, like not only are you doing a kind of a pseudo summer world tour, but you're doing multiple different countries, all I'm sure having their own regulations, rules, and like how is your team trying to keep all this together? Because we're looking at the Olympics right now. No one's in the stands. They're obviously another thing that you know they have their own country, own protocols, own rules. How are you trying to like make your way working inside of all this?
Well, it's a challenge. You know, Scott Zerd does all of our matchmaking, does an amazing job. He handles all of the logistics stuff. And that's one of the changes, just booking flights and making sure everybody has their COVID tests, making sure that we're in compliance with these different countries. It's a huge challenge. It's a huge headache. And, you know, I think we kind of have taken the approach, even with the first couple of shows we've done in Kansas, that, you know, we don't want to go into lockdown. We need to do everything we can do to go to some jurisdictions where we're able to put on some fights, we're able to bring in some fans, and now we've kind of done that domestically. And in addition to the shows we've mentioned, we have a couple other European shows coming up before the end of the year. So it's going to be something that's going to be with us for a while.
That's awesome. I love it. Obviously, I'm selfish. I want to get you in my backyard here, but I know you guys have been doing your stuff overseas for so long, and the experience that some of those fighters are able to get. Not only just that, you're also able to kind of pull in from some of the local talent from the area and kind of give them also opportunities too. Is one of the cool things I saw. Like I said, as much as kind of a little sour, you're not here in the States. I understand why you're fighting, where you're fighting, and the overall goal that you guys are kind of pushing towards. So a few more international dates before the end of the year. I'm sure any fighters who are listening tonight are going to be more than happy to hear about that.
Yeah, we're going to be, in addition to that, we've got a West Coast show coming up, in October. So we're just trying to, we've created an international brand, and I think it's really important. Not only are we bringing major international talent in, but we're giving some of these Americans an opportunity to fight overseas, like Chip and Andy, Jake. And I think it just plays well for our brand. Fight Pass brought us in because we had done 66 shows in 7 countries. Everybody identifies us with us as an international brand. So we wanted to be the first ones back out there internationally and getting back on Fight Pass and streaming our fights around the world.
Always a beautiful thing. Easy to find your guys' fights. UFC Fight Pass is always good for content, especially when it comes to combat sports. Now, speaking of combat sports as a whole, this past week has got really interesting for a few of our sports. Obviously, International Olympic Committee has recognized both kickboxing, Muay Thai, and combat sambo as IOC recognized sports. So hopefully moving forward into these next games, we could possibly get one of, if not all 3 of these into the Olympics. How excited are you for that opportunity? And isn't that kind of a whole nother level to this, like being able to kind of some of these young fighters that have these international platforms like the Olympics, gives them these opportunities to, not just for promotions like you, but for these athletes to kind of, have this great opportunity to be able to represent your country, to be able to compete for a gold medal, regardless if you're, I think the next one's going to be in Los Angeles was going to be great for, a lot of the Americans because it, won't be that far of a thing. But for some of these other people, like what I always sit there and say, like, regardless, it's international travel, something to do, especially when you're representing your country in that setting is kind of a special thing. What are your hopes on what could be moving forward for Muay Thai in the Olympics?
But it's going to be great exposure. One of the discussions I always has with folks is that, Muay Thai has always been kind of a regional sport. You have Asia, you have Europe, and then you have America. And you've always had these pockets of kind of isolation. And I don't think any promotion has been able to kind of bridge that gap. That's something we've been trying to do with Lion Fight, and I think we've been the most successful at it. But having it part of the Olympics, which just introduces us to a whole new fan base, especially a younger fan base. And, the rules are going to be a little bit different. I'm still waiting to find out more about that. But I think it's going to be great for combat sports. It's going to be great for the sport of Muay Thai.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we definitely lose in that will probably be spinning attacks and elbows.
Yeah, I think there's going to be more pads where you wouldn't normally expect them.
There'd be knee pads, elbow pads, the whole 9. But I think they would probably cut some of the flashy stuff out to prevent cuts and stuff like that. Obviously, it's international. It's it's kind of an exhibition when you kind of look at it as it is anyway. So I think that part's kind of cool. The thing that might suck is for some of these guys who might want to compete and they've already turned professional. That part might be rough, but other than that, like I think that might be something they may do. What kind of like they did with basketball? Yeah, where even though you are professional, like that, they'll kind of grandfather you in that way. Within, as long as you're within a kind of, I guess they'll probably do a certain age bracket or something to that effect. Maybe, I don't know, but like it's one of these things where there's so many different things that you can question that are intriguing moving forward with the potential of having these sports in the Olympics.
Well, and remember how boxing became so popular? It really was. Golden Gloves. When I was growing up, every town had a Golden Gloves organization. And I think that got that grassroots fan. So that's why when you saw it on, Wide World of Sports or something like that, you had some familiarity with it. I think one of the things that we're trying to do with Lion Fight, as well, is work with a lot of these affiliate gyms, work with a lot of these people, bring in Muay Thai instructors so that people can make a choice if that's something they like. So I think anything like that, even if it's a modified version, probably a safer version, I think it's still the fact that it's Muay Thai, that there's some name recognition with that. I think it's all good. It's all good exposure for the sport.
I think it's good exposure for the sport, but I also think it gives something for these athletes to get some, not just recognition, but to be able to build their brand prior to making a professional run. You see a lot of times where you're looking at some of these athletes who come over from the Olympics who have that background and have come into combat sports, etc., kind of garnered a little bit, a little bit more recognition, a little bit more, money, by a little bit more promotion behind their name. And I think that'll also be important for some of these younger athletes, because at the end of the day, it's also about these athletes too, not just about growing the sport and the promotion, etc. Like I'll always look at all sides of when we're looking at this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, fighting is a business. It's like anything else. Anything that they can do to brand themselves, especially nowadays. When I started doing this, we were passing fight posters out of the trunk of my car. We don't do that anymore. Everything is on social media. So I think there's a whole nother level of opportunity and branding for young fighters that make themselves more marketable, more valuable to a promotion. So I think, and that's another challenge for a promotion is keeping up with all of the social media, keeping up with ways on how to kind of expand your brand into things other than maybe traditional Muay Thai. I've been talking to, NFL groups. I've been talking to fitness groups. I've been talking to different platforms that will allow us to maybe expand our fan base beyond Muay Thai. So Olympics is another one of those large caravans of all these different sports. I mean, what's the one, with the curling? I mean, who knew that was a sport until the Olympics came along? And now all of a sudden you're seeing it on ESPN2. And, so again, I think it's something that is going to bring great exposure to the sport.
Yeah, I think it's a great exposure to sport, and you're the promotion when it comes to Muay Thai as it is. So definitely, I'm sure you're excited to the overall growth of the sport as a whole when it comes to that part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've developed a great team here at Lion Fight. Again, we've done all these fights internationally. We have the opportunity, I think, to really get this sport to the next level internationally. And that's why we're committed to do this, man. And I really appreciate you guys having me on and, give us a platform here to tell people about the show in Sicily, the show in Scotland. And hopefully they're going to be interested enough to tune into UFC
Well,
Fight
I mean,
Pass.
you guys already have the fighters. It's just you guys are already on the platform. It's just getting that athlete to make that connection. That's why I always say like not just having you guys on there, not just letting people know about the fights, but letting the athletes kind of tell their story to connect with the fans. If you can get them to being snared by a person, it doesn't matter. Like that'll keep them there. Yeah, that's the person they'll always tune in for, but they'll always kind of say like, who's the next one coming up? Is there somebody going to be better than this guy, this girl, etc.? So it's like there's always another layer to it, my friend.
No, I appreciate that, and I was just watching a documentary on wrestling, professional wrestling, and I was never a wrestling guy, but I was amazed at the transformation, how it went from these small regional promotions in the backwaters of the United States. And then, the WWE and these groups came in and really galvanized it. And one of the keys to that was, like you mentioned, getting these personalities, getting these human interest stories and these characters. And people really bought into it. So I think from a marketing standpoint, there's a lot of value in that.
Yeah. And I think you already have a bunch of guys. It's just a matter of getting them out there to the mass of the people. And, if it's platforms like mine or other similar or bigger, I'm happy to be a part of it, my friend.
I appreciate that. Thanks. Thank you very much.
Now, you know what I do as I typically get ready to wrap things up, Scott? I kind of throw the proverbial microphone over to you, my friend. Anyone, you want to thank, anything you want to let the people know about, any announcements you want to throw upon us that you want to let the people know about, the time is yours. Shoot at the social media sites, let everyone know where to follow you, the promotion, and where to get tickets for the upcoming events. If we have some people listening internationally, catch us internationally so that they know where to catch these events coming forward.
Your partner's awful quiet today. I didn't want to say anything, but I did pick up on his detachment, but no, it's all good.
I caught him on this the whole time too. I told you, he just came back from watching from reffing the game, so he's sitting there catching up on things while catching up with stuff with us too.
I didn't want to be disrespectful, and you were telling such interesting stories, and I was actually very intrigued. I was like, I don't want to talk over this. This is actually really good stuff right now. So I was really trying to work hard on being as quiet as possible.
Well, I appreciate it, man. Always love hearing from both of you guys. Again, July 31st, we're in Sicily. It's going to be on Fight Pass. It'll be broadcast live there. So I think it comes on at 2 o'clock on the West Coast, if I'm not mistaken, Saturday. 3 weeks after that, we're in Glasgow, Scotland. And then a week after that, we're at the House of Blues in Boston, across the street from Fenway Park. It's going to be an amazing show. All three of these shows. Boy, our matchmaker's outdone himself on all three of these shows. Check it out on UFC Fight Pass. Our website is lionfight.com. I'm at @ScottLFB. Feel free to reach out if you have any comments. If there's fighters you want to see, comments you have, please let us know. We'd love to hear back from our fans. And thanks to you guys, especially for making me a part of your platform.
It's always a pleasure, and thank you for calling Zach out, because I say this to him all the time. He's like, you're always talking. He's like, I want to try to learn to kind of catch up on everything. I don't want to mess up the conversation, talk over you or him or whatever. But really, I always bust the shots when we go off air. I'm like Zach, are you okay? You seem like you're zoned out. He's like, no, I was just letting you guys talk, and I was looking at the next thing that was coming on, so we can catch up on that before we go off the air or the interview goes over, etc.
You guys are like the Penn and Teller of combat sports, right? You got to have a straight man, right?
You have to have the yin and the yang when it comes to it all, Scott. You know how it goes.
The yin and the yang, yeah, sure. If the yin and the yang is referring to buttholes, then we're the yin and the yang of ATV Radio.
You guys have a great weekend. Thanks again.
Scott, it's always a pleasure. You have a great one. Appreciate the time. And keep doing your thing, my friend. Have a good one.
Thanks, buddy. All right, bye-bye.
All right, everyone. That was Scott Kent, CEO of Lion Pride Promotions. Oh, man, it's always a pleasure catching up with Scott. And, yeah, that was definitely a good one.
I mean, really, first of all, he's an intimidating guy anyway. When he talks, you're like, oh, damn, I better listen to this guy when he talks. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know what you mean by intimidating. He's like a voice when you hear, he kind of fills the room. You want to catch it out, right?
Yeah, he demands respect with his tone. And I'm like, well, damn, I do enough of talking over Steven as it is. I'm not going to talk over this guy, too. I got to sit here and be respectful.
I know. Scott was probably just busting your chops because I was ushering him off, and you didn't even get a question in this time. I was just, he was running a few minutes late, and you were running late. And
I was trying to think of any from the things he was talking about, anything I could tie it in. I was about to say, because it seemed like a fun idea, he was going over to Italy and all those places, and he was talking about the WWE and marketing people, and we all remember how they found Andre the Giant over in the French Alps or some crazy place like that. Like when
See,
you're
here's
over
the
there,
other
like,
awesome
maybe you're
side
just
about
finding some
this whole thing about that, right? Like,
maybe
like
you have
the
some big
Olympic side of
freak that he
it,
finds
they're
out there in the
now like
mountains somewhere over
like
there.
not just line fight in the like we're now going to be able to find like if they actually get sanctioned and it actually does become an Olympic event, that he gets to the point now where he can go and find these fighters who probably didn't have a platform to get seen on because of the Olympics and things of that nature. They're going to be actually have a chance to.
I saw some breaking news, something involving the Olympics, and I'm not sure what it was or if it's important, but I feel like I need to find out before I lose my mind. Did you see anything? Have you seen anything?
Hold on, let me.
I just saw
now
breaking
you're making
news
me go
involving
look.
Tokyo Olympics on the bottom of my screen. If they just announce some results of some stupid like pole vault contest or something, I'm going to lose my shit.
All right, top story, Olympic Games. Or the latest, rather. Team USA, gold and silver, better together, swimming. That's probably what it was, swimming.
It was swimming. It was a breaking news on. Oh, Jesus, I'm watching men's volleyball, which is so less entertaining than women's volleyball for some reason. I can't quite put my finger on it. As
I
far
don't
as
know
why.
where to go there with that, man. No,
I
but
turned it away. Now, yeah,
like
now I got the fight on. You know, I just
double
watched
back off
TJ
of something
Dillashaw
that
punch
we
him
were
in the
talking
face.
with Scott. Like the cool thing about this now, remember the next Summer Games is going to be in LA,
Nice.
right? So you're going to potentially have kickboxing, Muay Thai, and or combat sambo potentially being officially OIC recognized thing. So you're actually going to have a lot more opportunities for athletes all over the world. And
he
it's
was
going to
talking
be
about-
in LA.
Well, yeah, that's
I mean,
one of the biggest
for
stages in the world.
for the Americans
Yeah.
who might have thought of some international travel in a few years, sorry, but on the other side of things,
LA. I mean, that's if there was ever a reason to go to
listen,
LA.
as much as we
Steven,
talk crap on California and things of that nature, LA is a fun place to have the Olympics, sporting events, etc.
Yeah, exactly. That might be the only reason I'll ever go to LA. Like, oh, the Olympics are going on. Maybe now I'll go to LA. Outside of that, I have no interest in going to that hellhole.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
But, the Olympics? You might have my interest. I'm telling you, we talked about
not to be the bad news thing, but remember the last time we had an Olympics here? What was that? That Atlanta, right? And
Atlanta, the bombing.
Bombing, yeah. I was just sitting there.
Dude.
So I'll say it now. Some whack job better not think of nothing to ruin the Olympics in 2028 because I'm not going to be fucking happy camper.
Yo,
I mean,
I looked down for
I got to
1
think about it.
second.
I think my son will be like 15 at the time. My daughter could technically still be able to compete.
A2D road trip.
Huh?
A2D road trip.
Yeah, right. Exactly. But like I said, like some of us who have kids, they might be able to compete. I don't want no one to mess that up, dude. So I'll just say it right now. Freaking weirdos and crazies, I don't care. Stay home. Stay freaking away from the next games that's going to be on our home soil.
I hate to break it to you. That's exactly where the weirdos and crazies are headed. They're headed to go watch the Olympics.
Stop, because it's LA. I already know.
But
I'm just trying to speak it into existence, my friend.
There's no way. Well, I don't like. You got to think security. I don't think there's any way we could ever have like another incident like we did at the '96 Olympics. And like, there's just no way. After that, and then with 9/11 and everything, there is absolutely no chance.
Changing up because we didn't get a chance to talk the NFL. We wanted to get on some NFL. I know we got the main event for UFC Fight Night going on, and TJ Dillashaw.
TJ Dillashaw is getting his ass kicked.
I love it. Sandhagen. Keep doing it, brother.
Dude, I looked down for 1 second and looked up, and his face was a crimson mask.
I love it.
Like, what happened? Did you just get hit? Like, the dude looked like you hit him with Triple H's sledgehammer. Like.
But want to get your thoughts. The UFC memo came out. They have a memorandum for the upcoming season on both the player, team personnel, and possible penalties for teams who are going to wind up holding up any if in multiple games. Will also affect team standings, playoff standings, etc. We've already seen players speak out against it, delete tweets. We've already seen coaches flat out say they're not doing it and have been let go. We're already looking for replacement coaches along them lines. I know, these are all things we talked about in lesser depths in other parts, over the last year or so. But again, NFL is a private company. That's their choices. It's also our choices as human beings to simply say, no, I'm not going to do this. You can sit out for the season. And that's really what your true intentions are. That sucks, especially with everything that's going on for everyone in the last few years. But want to get your thoughts on the memo. What are your thoughts on, what some of the players' stances have been already, and what do you think it's going to have a real overall effect on the season?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's obviously going to have an effect on the season, sure, but that's part of why I think the league's trying to put protocols in. Like, the league's almost in a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. Like, if they don't do anything, people are going to be like, how can you not do anything? And if they do something, people are going to be like, freedoms and my rights. And, so they're just in a tough spot. But I think they learned last year, like, we've got idiots like Dwayne Haskins who are going to go out in the middle of this fucking pandemic and be, licking strippers' G-strings in DC strip clubs. So, like, when you've got that shit going on in the middle of a pandemic, like, what do you want the NFL to do? Like, they've almost like got their hands tied and they have to do something to prevent another situation like that. Like, no, I can't have players going to strip clubs and licking strippers' titties in the middle of all this and then showing up at the team facility the next day. That's just not okay. Like, so what do you want? I get where they're coming from, and I'm not criticizing any player that's come out and said, I'm not taking the vaccine. I'm supporting. Both sides have rights here, and both sides are exercising their rights. And as long as neither side has their rights violated in any way, I'm perfectly that's what this is all about. That's what America's all about, right? Like, private company, you can do what you want. I'm a player. I'm not being forced to take the vaccine. I can sit out if I want, whatever. Nobody's really being forced to do anything in this situation. Both sides have rights that they're exercising, and good for them. You know what I mean? Like, that's the way that should go. Now, I'll change my tune real quick if I see, the NFL announcing suspensions or things like that because players are refusing. Like, as long as it's, hey, like, you can do what you want, but if you get caught breaking protocol.
When you get to what in life or death, have fun, brother. Appreciate you tuning in as always, my friend.
I think that's where I'm at with it. Like, from what I've seen, it's like, is that your understanding of it too? It's like, hey, you don't have to get vaccinated, but if you break COVID protocol and something happens where there's a COVID outbreak because you broke protocol and you're not vaccinated, we have to do
that's where
something.
I think like DeAndre Hopkins, like, I don't want to be the guy that freaking cost my team games, playoff spot, potential championship, because he's had a real situation inside of his family why he has a strong.
Why he doesn't want to get it.
Why he doesn't want to take it.
Now,
and
see,
I totally respect DeAndre Hopkins. One, for speaking out publicly about it. Two, because he could have been absolutely eviscerated by people on the other side. He has a reason, and he has somebody close to him who has had some serious side effects from the vaccine, and as a player, that side effect has a real thing on his ability. So obviously, I'd be second guess of it. Being a guy of his caliber, you do that, and you change something in your body that throws everything off. You're not the same player. You're not the same person. Whatever. It's one of these things. Like we all have a choice to make, and if you want to take the vaccine, if you feel it's right for you, for your family, etc. And we also have the right to sit and say, like, hey, I want to make sure everyone's safe. But it's like you said, damned you don't, no win situation.
Really
however you want to talk it. It's one of these things where it's just one of these difficult things. No matter what angle you look at it, no matter which way somebody's gonna wind up, being the bad guy or whatever. So,
I mean, it's like the NBA made, obviously, there was a lot made of the situation in the bubble, but they had very strict. Hey, these are the types of situations. These are the protocols. You got to follow it. Lou Williams left the bubble to go to a strip club in Orlando. Get the hell out. You're being quarantined for 10 days. I felt like the NBA bubble situation, obviously we made fun of it, but for what it was, I thought the NBA handled that very, very well with everything that went on as far as how crazy that whole situation was. You're like, wow, they did a really good job with this. So I don't know. I mean, I can't really blame other leagues if they're going to try to follow the lead of what the NBA did and say, okay, we've got to try to come up with something that's similar to what they did because theirs works so well. Obviously, the NFL's in a spot where they can't put everybody in a bubble or do something like that, but that doesn't mean they can't adopt some of the COVID policies or the protocols or whatever that the NBA had put on their players or yada, 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 yada. I don't think that's unfair. Like, is it really that hard to stay out of a strip club? Like, you know what I mean? Like things like that. Like, are those things, like, if you really like, for me, okay, well, then I'm not really that worried about it. Like, you're it's kind of silly to me to sit here and be like, oh, well, I feel like my, I don't know what that was about. So you might have heard a little. That was my phone having an alarm going off. Yeah, I don't think it's that silly for like players like oh, this is violating. No, like stay out of a strip club. Don't be stupid. Don't do all this stupid shit that might put your teammates or whatever in jeopardy, and you have nothing to worry about, right? Like that's the bottom line with it. And then like if you're really that worried about it, you don't want to play, good. Exercise that right not to play. I didn't see anything saying they wouldn't get paid their salary if they decided not to play, right? Like that didn't seem like there was anything about, oh, well, if you decide not to play because you don't want to be vaccinated, teams aren't going to pay you sort of thing. Like,
all I gotta say is definitely had another fun with this week. We're 2 hours in. I know it's only an hour and a half for Zach, so he feels like he's got another 20 minutes of conversation going, right? But
hold on one second.
Definitely wanted to see anything else you want to touch on before we get ready to wrap this one up. Obviously, didn't really get to the UFC talk with, trying to get everything caught up. Cam stayed on for, almost 50 minutes.
I've got one more thing about, I guess, the Olympics before we leave.
This past week that we didn't touch on, the Olympic stuff, I want to ask you about this one. Did you happen to see BKFC this weekend?
No, I mean, I haven't been able to really see. Like, I saw. I was trying to look like at the results of some of the fights last night, but I wasn't.
Well, no, that's what I was going to ask you. Like I knew you probably didn't catch the pay-per-view itself, but I wanted to ask, like, you caught the results, and did you hear about the melee?
I didn't hear about the melee. What happened?
All right, so obviously they had some YouTubers fighting on there, right? Blueface, the guy Blueface won, right? Well, actually, looked okay, but apparently some knucklehead from the crowd decided he was gonna run up onto the ring and challenge him to a fight, and then like a whole scuffle ensues, and he looked like he was throwing better punches at the freaking fan than he did through in the actual fight.
Really? I did not know that. Now I see. I should have watched.
Here's the thing.
Why do all the entertaining things happen when I don't watch?
Yeah, I know, right? And then now here's the other side of it. Britt Hart. We had her here on the show. Another fun interview. Winds up getting another big win over Jenny Savage, and Paige Van Zandt. BKFC's Golden Girl takes another L, which Rachel Stove is getting a very dominant decision victory over in the main event. Oh man.
Steven, I'm just telling you, by the time the Olympics get to LA, don't be surprised if cornhole is an Olympic competition, Olympic sport.
Don't wish that.
We mentioned curling. I'm telling you, the cornhole is moving in that direction awfully quick.
Don't wish that upon us. Then we're gonna have to sit there and watch these drunken idiots at the freaking tailgate sitting there saying they're freaking Olympic athletes now. Stop it.
To me, cornhole is better than curling. Hell,
don't wish that
cornhole is way better than curling. Dude, TJ Dillashaw won that fight? Holy hell.
Split decision. That's all I'll say to that.
I've got a rule of thumb when I'm judging fights, and that's if one guy's face is completely covered in blood and the other guy's face isn't, I'm pretty sure the guy whose face is not covered in blood won. Like, it seems like a decent rule, isn't it? Like, unless the guy with blood made you tap out or something. But there's no way you should lose a decision. Like, he's bleeding, like, very badly. Like, all over his face. Like, is that the definition of kicking your ass? Like,
Judging's weird in MMA sometimes, man. I don't know what to tell you. But
Got Stevie
again,
Wonder over here judging these fights.
yeah, man. I don't. It's something I'll be arguing about till the fucking cows come home. Dude.
It's the judge from the Floyd Mayweather Canelo Alvarez fight, or what, or the Canelo Gennady Golovkin fight, or whatever. The one that had him winning like 118 to 110.
But another fun one in the books. You know, our guest from last week is officially rescheduled. Gotten the thumbs up from the lawyers. So Kung Lee will be back for next weekend. Everything's good. No restrictions on my questions either. So anything we want to fire at him, he's good to go.
Perfect.
So definitely should be fun. So he'll be back. Obviously, guys, make sure you're like, subscribe, everything on YouTube. Make sure you're checking out the A2D membership here on YouTube. Make sure it's only $9.90 a month. You know, show appearances, memorabilia streams, shout outs, the weekly sports picks, as Zach was talking about the boys over at the Money Pot Podcast already making everyone money. So just with having the ability to get to the Money Pot Podcast takes care of your subscription alone. And by the way, you know, we got other things that are going on too with, you know, everything that we're doing over here. I already told you I got my giveaway. Just remember to head over to Manscaped, use that 20% off code for A2D. Screenshot either me, any one of the A2D pages that you've used that A2D code. We'll get you entered to giveaway. We got some jerseys that actually. Also, make sure you check out A2D's timeline because we're actually giving away the main page. The A2D radio page is giving away a Devontae Smith jersey. So all you got to do is retweet the post, like or subscribe on whatever platform it is. Tag two friends, and you're in to win a jersey. Make sure you guys are heading over to that. Make sure you're taking advantage of some of these giveaways. Not just what I'm doing, not just what Tommy's doing. We got other things going on. Just tune in, subscribe, show your love like you always do, and we're gonna make sure we take care of you guys as always. Always have some fun stuff going on. Oh, what's going on here? Oh, yep. and Andy jumped in with it. Yes, Jesse Cam Atkinson's. I think that's a nice little trade off with, you know, getting Voracek out of here. I don't think he was the exact guy that made the trade, but you know, I think that's part of that whole thing, getting him out of here. So I'll take Cam. Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, hey, listen, if Flyers fans are excited, I'm with you. It's a good trade. Okay. I mean, I didn't say it wasn't a good trade. I just said I didn't know a lot about the guy. Good Lord.
No, I know.
I watch enough hockey to know a lot about the guy. I didn't say it wasn't a good trade.
I know. Just want to show get Jesse's comment in here before we hop off here. And speaking of Andy, make sure you guys are tuning into the boys over here in this very ring. They should be coming on here within the next like 10 to 15 minutes or so, right as we come off the air. So again, I'm Steve. That's Zach. This was another episode of the Weekly Roundup. We will be back same time, same channel. You know, watching Zach groom himself and his goofy smiles. We'll see you guys next week. Catch you.